And welcome back, once again adventurers, to Let's Play Chaos Head. In the last episode, Takumi Nichijou imagined who it might be on the other end of this phone with the number 03X733X991. The positive delusion phone call had a mysterious unknown tsundere who Takumi never met and who Takumi will never meet because the phone call was a delusion. Whereas the negative phone call delusion was none other than Yuo Kusunoki, whom luckily Takumi hasn't encountered with over the last 5 days, or several days for that matter. But she behaved very much the way she did during their last fatal encounter, in which she accused him of being the new gen criminal himself, and not just the mere accessory. But the time for delusions has passed, however, and it is time to actually see who this number really belongs to, which is probably going to be a very poor decision. But nothing ventured, nothing gained. However, our curiosity could get the best of us in a very negative light. Who could it be? Maybe it really was the police. Maybe it isn't. We have no way of knowing unless we call, and if we do, nothing will ever be the same. Alternatively, it's probably a good thing that the cell phone isn't hooked up to a faulty second-hand microwave linked up to a particle collider and CRT, otherwise we would be jumping ship from world lines. But this isn't Steins Gate, this is Chaos Head. It wasn't Mizumi-kun or the demon girl. They had been there before my eyes when my phone rang. In other words, they are not the callers. If I ruled them out, the remaining possibility was Yuwa? Certainly, but we've already been down that path already. But she shouldn't be aware of my cell phone number. Besides, I didn't have anything to discuss with Yuwa anymore. Also, given the fact that Nanami purchased that cell phone after our encounter with Yuwa, if memory serves. Yeah, which means she should definitely not know what the number is. For now, I might as well listen to it. I scoped out my surroundings, verifying that the demon girl wasn't there, then put the phone to my ear.
こちらは留守番電話サービスセンターです。新しいメッセージは1件です。
One new message. Well, moment of truth. Let's hear it.
1件目、10月17日金曜日午前8時28分の伝言です。
After, of course, we hit the timestamp.
なんぞこれ。
That's a bit odd. However, for some reason this jingle actually sounds familiar to me, although no one is speaking, which is peculiar. Rather than anyone's voice, what I heard was a deeply familiar melody. I had the sense that it was ringing out from a slight distance. Perhaps the person on the other end of the line had been near a traffic light. Of course, this is the crosswalk melody. I think we heard it on the Shibuya Scramble. The song was often played at pedestrian crosswalks in order to let people with visual disabilities know when the light turned green. That's interesting to know, also quite useful. By the way, it was a children's song called Let Me Pass. Though a lot of people knew the melody, far fewer knew the lyrics. On a side note, I know them, because I learned them in middle school. Well, but it wasn't as though I remembered them perfectly. On a side note of my own, I have never heard the lyrics to this song, because I don't live in Japan. And I'm also not going to sing them. Let me pass, where will this path take me? It's the path to the Tenjin Shrine. Also, I'm sure that the melody is in Japanese. I'm not going to read it anymore. You can read it for yourselves. It is quite a catchy little jingle. And now all of a sudden it's a police siren? Or an ambulance siren? It sounded like coming home is beep boop beep boop. It wasn't very auspicious, what with how it reminded me of an ambulance. Meh, it must have been a coincidence, but it was creepy all the same. Oh dear God. Ugh. Ugh, that is horrible. The instant after the traffic signal's melody got cut off, there came a massively high volume akin to that of a buzzer. I have the volume turned down, and it's still loud. It was so loud I didn't waste a second in taking the phone away from my ear. Oh Jesus, I'm wearing headphones. Oh my God.
なんだ
When I gingerly returned the phone to my ear, the message had already finished playing. That's bizarre to say the least. What had it been? At the very end, I might have heard faintly a roar like the ground rumbling. That buzzer was something completely separate from the melody of the traffic light. For it to have such tremendous volume, I could assume all I could assume was that the phone's receiver had been deliberately placed close to the source of the sound. And yet, we actually did not hear a sound coming from anywhere in the city, anywhere. If that were the case, then people would be talking about it, but we haven't heard any sort of loud noise on that scale, otherwise it would have reverberated all throughout Shibuya, given how loud the message was.
いたずら
Tempted as I am to say that, I'm not going to bet on that fact, if it is a fact. I don't think it's a prank myself, but my heart began to race when I thought that. Had I done anything to earn someone's dislike? Who had made this call to me anyway? That is a very good question. But I doubt we're going to find the answer to that query anytime soon. I could return the call using the number displayed on my phone, but I wouldn't be able to bring myself to redial a prank caller. In the end, my only available choice was to leave it be. Besides, my current situation was far worse than a prank call like this. I would hesitate to agree with you on that one. I put the phone away in my pocket and left school, carefully observing what lay around me all the while. And off we go. And we're completely elsewhere now, far away from Suwa Academy. Takumi Nishijo's alma, second Kitazawa Elementary School, was about 5 minutes walking distance from a private railway station. It's quite big for an elementary school. I mean, Jesus, look at the size of it. Thinking that he'd like to speak with the teacher who had been responsible for Takumi Nishijo during elementary school, Yasu Yasuji Ban attempted to contact him via phone, but was told that, sadly, he had passed away. That's probably the teacher that died in the bus accident. Oh, word. Ban resorting to speaking instead with the one who answered the phone, the head teacher, Kamio, went to the school together with his partner. As it was a Saturday, the school gates were closed. The two detectives, Ban and Suwa, stopped there and looked over at the school building. An extraordinarily eye-catching, brilliantly colored mural was painted on the white outer wall. Maybe we might get a glimpse into Takumi's childhood. Without any knowledge of art or aesthetics, Ban had no idea what it signified. But the way the spiral-shaped painting changed to 7 different colors as it went from top to bottom reminded him of a rainbow. While Ban gazed at the mural and fanned himself with his handheld fan, his partner Suwa pressed the intercom button near the school gates. Ban abruptly looked around. He had the feeling that someone was watching him. It was a particularly clingy and unpleasant gaze. Seems like Takumi Nichijou isn't the only one who is under the auspice of quote-unquote God's gaze. Interesting.
俺ってそんなにかっこいいか
And Bun is trying to pass it off by being cool, but something tells me that he is as rattled as Takumi is whenever God's gaze appears. He tried striking a pose, one that was dandy, cool, refined. Of course, if he turns around, he too will also lose the "it'll take more than that for me to turn around" game.
先輩、何変なポーズしてるんすか？
And of course, Suwo is completely oblivious whatsoever. Yeah, I'm afraid your Chunibiu behavior there is definitely starting to get the better of you, Ban.
裏門の方に通用口があるんで、そっちに回ってくれって。
Oh well. Ban stopped posing, sighed once, and began to walk. They were quick to locate the staff room. The side door soon led to the school's rear entrance hallway, and getting to the staff room only required turning down one corridor. Naturally, there were no children present in the building, and to the two detectives, it felt chillier than when they'd been outside, although this could have been an illusion created by the slick linoleum floor. Shouldn't have been that difficult to say, but was. There were 3 teachers in the staff room. One of them rose and bowed his head upon seeing the detectives enter. He was Kamio, with a mild smile and mostly white hair swept over with a side part. Ban and Suwa showed their police IDs to him almost simultaneously, then entered the topic at hand soon after a few brief greetings. It was Suwa's role to ask him questions, while Ban takes a note of their surroundings.
ここの卒業生である西條匠くんについて教えていただきたいんですが。
Yeah, they're still investigating him.
彼のことは印象に残っています。私は担任ではなかったから詳しくとなると無理ですが、それでも構いませんか。
Suwa nodded, taking out his notebook and readying himself to jot things down.
西條くんはどんな子だったんすか？
難しい子だと聞いていました。特殊だと。
Yeah, Takumi certainly had a interesting childhood, to say the least.
特殊？
本来なら他の生徒に混ざって勉強するのはとても困難な、病気を患っていたらしく。
So they believed that his behavior was due to an illness. I am tempted to say autism, but something about Takumi's personality doesn't quite fit.
具体的には？
そこまで私が言ってしまっていいのかどうか。ご家族なり医師なりに聞いていただけますか。
In recent times, all schools have been responding with don't rock the boat attitude. They wouldn't cooperate fully when it came to anything that might result in a lawsuit from a parent or guardian. It made doing one's job as a policeman much harder. Although in Takumi's case, his parents probably seem to be aware of this personality trait. And as for his doctor, Takashima is still nowhere to be found due to the fact he's on a leave of absence.
担任の先生はなんで亡くなったんです？
And Barn asks the very important question.
事故です。遠足の最中、乗っていたバスが陥没した道路に。
あ、自分それ知ってるっす。ニュースでやってたっすよね。
Huh, so they were aware of that.
子供たちは怪我をしただけで、幸い命は助かったのですが、斉藤先生だけが犠牲になってしまい、なんともやりきれない思いです。
Also to note the fact that Takumi's parents deliberately kept him from being on that bus, which is probably a detail that these two knuckleheads either know about or they have yet to know about.
西条くんもその事故に巻き込まれた。
Looks like it's the latter. Kamiya gave a small side-to-side shake of his head in response to Barnes' question.
あの子は当日欠席していて、バスには乗っていませんでした。
That is a very pertinent detail, and one unfortunately that marks against Takumi's favor.
欠席の理由は？
病が悪化したと聞いたような覚えがありますが。
Barn too had a faint recollection of that accident. And gone is the sort of upbeat slob. Now here is the Suja Barn, who is the hard-nosed detective. After the accident, glancing around the TV had shown him the mass media day after day around the house of the one male child who hadn't been involved. Takumi himself.
あれは悲しい事故だったんですよ。
If indeed accident it was. Bit of a stretch, but for some reason, as Kamiya repeated himself, he placed a strong emphasis on the word accident. And yeah, there is no way that Bond didn't pick up on that, because I certainly did. And now we're back with Takumi's perspective. It was a custom of mine to start chatting with Grim a bit before starting into. Unfortunately, we're not going to do that right now because this is going to be the end of this episode of Let's Play ChäoS Head. And when we return, adventurers, let's see what we'll see what Grim has to say about the latest new gen incident. As always, dear adventurers, until next we meet.